Ladies and gentlemen, imagine a woman standing alone in the vast expanse of her life. She looks around, and there is no one to lean on, no one to share her joys or sorrows. Many might pity her, label her as lonely or incomplete. But let me tell you, this woman is not a victim, she is on the brink of discovery. Solitude is often misunderstood. To many it appears as an absence of people, relationships, or activity, a void that leaves one feeling disconnected or even incomplete. But to the discerning mind, solitude is not a lack but a presence. It is a stage where one is invited to meet themselves fully, free from the distractions and expectations of others. For a woman without friends, this solitude is not a punishment, it is a sacred space where transformation begins. It is the quiet where seeds of greatness are sown. In the stillness of solitude, a profound truth emerges: no one can define you except yourself. Without the noise of others' opinions or the pull of external relationships, a woman is left face to face with her most authentic self. This is not a moment of despair, but one of clarity, where she can reflect on who she is, and more importantly, who she wants to become. The absence of friendships is not a marker of failure, but an opportunity to cultivate the most important relationship of all, the one she has with herself. Consider for a moment how we often derive our sense of worth from the relationships we hold. Friends validate us, reassure us, and reflect back who we believe we are. But what if these reflections are false or incomplete? What if they serve only to distract us from the truth that lies within? A woman without friends has no such illusions to contend with. She stands as she is, with no one to impress, no roles to play, and no masks to wear. It is here, in this raw and unfiltered state, that she begins to see herself clearly. Solitude is the proving ground for self-awareness. In the absence of external affirmation, a woman learns to draw strength from within. She discovers that her value does not depend on who stands beside her, but on the essence of who she is. The quiet allows her to listen not to the chatter of others, but to the voice of her soul, the whisper of her intuition, the steady rhythm of her heart. These are the companions that never leave, the friends that never falter. But this period of solitude is not meant to last forever. It is a cocoon, a space for growth and renewal. Just as the caterpillar retreats into stillness before emerging as a butterfly, a woman without friends is in a phase of profound transformation. She is shedding old beliefs, discarding patterns that no longer serve her, and cultivating a new vision for herself. When she emerges, she does so with a strength and self-awareness that cannot be shaken. The friendships she once lacked are no longer a source of pain or longing, because she understands that she was never truly alone. Instead, she is surrounded by the energy she cultivated within herself. When the time comes to welcome others into her life, she does so not out of need but out of abundance. She attracts relationships that are aligned with her truest self, connections that are rich, fulfilling, and deeply meaningful. This period of solitude also offers a unique gift: the ability to envision and create. In the quiet, a woman's imagination becomes her greatest ally. She can dream freely, unencumbered by the expectations or judgments of others. She can picture herself as the person she wishes to be, surrounded by love, support, and companionship. As she holds on to this vision, life begins to rearrange itself to match her inner world. The relationships she desires manifest not by chance, but by design. For a woman who finds herself without friends, let this time be one of empowerment, not despair. Let her recognize the extraordinary opportunity that lies in solitude. It is not a void, but a space for creation, a moment to rediscover her inner strength and align with her deepest desires. From this foundation, she can build a life rich with authentic connections, relationships that reflect the love she has cultivated within. This journey begins in the quiet, but it does not end there. Solitude is merely the starting point, the place where she meets herself and sets the course for her future. What appears as isolation is, in truth, a gift, a sacred pause before the unfolding of something beautiful. And when she steps forward, she will do so as a woman transformed, ready to embrace the friendships and connections that are now a reflection of her truest self. Imagination is the seed from which all reality grows. Every circumstance, every relationship, and every experience in life begins in the mind. For a woman without friends, this truth holds extraordinary power. While it may seem that the lack of companionship is an external reality, it is in fact a reflection of her inner world, a mirror of the beliefs she holds about herself, and the relationships she deserves. The beauty of this understanding is that it places the power firmly in her hands. By shifting her inner narrative, she can transform her external reality. In this moment, she may feel the weight of loneliness, a sense of separation from others. But this sense of disconnection is not a fixed state. It is a story she has been telling herself, perhaps unconsciously, for years. The mind is an incredible storyteller, and it often weaves tales based on past experiences, fears, or inherited beliefs. If she has believed that she is unworthy of close relationships, or that she is destined to walk through life alone, her world will reflect these assumptions. The mind does not discriminate between what is true and what is imagined. It creates whatever it is consistently fed. This is where the transformative power of imagination comes into play. The woman who feels she has no friends must first understand that she is not a victim of circumstance, but a creator of her reality. Her imagination is not a frivolous escape from the world. It is the blueprint from which her life is constructed. If she wishes to change her reality, she must first change the images and assumptions that dominate her mind. Imagine her sitting in solitude, eyes closed, with the weight of her situation pressing on her. In this quiet moment, she begins to see herself differently. She envisions herself surrounded by love, by people who value her deeply, by friends who understand and cherish her for who she truly is. She feels the warmth of their companionship, the joy of shared laughter, the comfort of knowing she is never alone. These images are not mere fantasies, they are acts of creation. As she immerses herself in these visions, something remarkable begins to happen. Her emotional state shifts. Where there was once loneliness, there is now hope. Where there was despair, there is now joy. This emotional transformation is the first evidence of the power of imagination. The mind cannot distinguish between an event that is real and one that is vividly imagined. When she truly feels the reality of her vision, her mind accepts it as truth. From this inner transformation, her outer world begins to change. She may notice subtle shifts at first: a chance encounter, a kind word from a stranger, or an unexpected invitation. These moments are not coincidences, they are manifestations of her new state of being. As she continues to hold on to her vision and align her actions with this new belief, the changes in her life become more profound. New relationships begin to form, and old wounds may heal as she reconnects with people she had distanced herself from. This process requires persistence and faith. The external world may not change overnight, and there may be moments when doubt creeps in. But she must remember that the power of imagination lies in its consistency. Each day, as she revisits her vision and feels the reality of her desired life, she strengthens the foundation of her new world. Life has no choice but to conform to the images she holds most vividly in her mind. The absence of friends is not an eternal truth, but a temporary reflection of past beliefs. By engaging her imagination, this woman steps into her role as the creator of her life. She is no longer bound by the limitations of her past or the expectations of others. Instead, she is free to craft a life filled with the connections and relationships she desires. Her imagination becomes her sanctuary, her source of strength, and her greatest tool for transformation. Through the power of imagination, she not only changes her external circumstances, but also discovers a deeper truth: she is never truly alone. The love and companionship she seeks are always within her, waiting to be expressed and shared. By cultivating this inner love and assuming the reality of her desires, she draws to herself the friendships and connections that reflect her renewed sense of worth. In this way, her imagination does not just shape her reality, it becomes her greatest ally, guiding her toward a life of abundance and joy. The foundation of all meaningful relationships begins with self-love. It is the wellspring from which every connection flows, the mirror that reflects our inner worth to the outer world. For a woman without friends, this truth is not just a revelation, it is a lifeline. The absence of external relationships is not an indication of her value, but a call to turn inward and reconnect with the source of love that resides within. It is an opportunity to cultivate the one relationship that will never leave her, the relationship with herself. Self-love is not vanity or selfishness, it is an acknowledgement of one's inherent worth. It is the quiet recognition that she is enough, just as she is. Many of us grow up internalizing messages that our value is tied to how others perceive us or the roles we play in their lives. We believe we must prove ourselves through achievements, appearance, or even the friendships we maintain. But these external validations are fleeting, and they often leave us feeling hollow when they are gone. The woman who has no friends may feel this void acutely, but it is in this space of emptiness that she has the chance to rebuild her sense of self on a foundation that cannot be shaken. To love oneself is to embrace every part of who we are, the strengths and the flaws, the victories and the mistakes. It is to look in the mirror and see not the absence of friends, but the presence of a soul deserving of love and kindness. This self-acceptance does not come from seeking approval from others, but from granting it to oneself. When a woman begins to nurture her inner world with compassion and understanding, she lays the groundwork for authentic connections with others. The irony is that as she learns to love herself, the need for external validation diminishes. She no longer seeks friendships to fill a void or prove her worth. Instead, her relationships become an extension of the love she already carries within. She approaches others not from a place of neediness or desperation, but from a sense of wholeness. This shift is profound, for it changes the energy she brings to her interactions. She becomes magnetic, drawing people toward her who resonate with her inner peace and self-assurance. Self-love also fosters discernment. A woman who values herself deeply will not settle for relationships that diminish her or fail to honor her worth. She becomes selective, not out of arrogance, but out of respect for her time and energy. She recognizes that not every connection is meant to last, and that true friendship is built on mutual respect and understanding. This clarity allows her to cultivate relationships that are nourishing and uplifting, rather than draining or superficial. The journey of self-love is not always easy. It requires confronting old wounds and releasing the stories that no longer serve her. It asks her to forgive herself for past mistakes and to let go of the need for perfection. But as she does this inner work, she discovers a strength and resilience she never knew she had. She learns that she is her own greatest advocate, her own best friend. This realization is liberating, for it frees her from the chains of seeking validation outside herself. As she deepens her love for herself, the world begins to reflect this love back to her. She notices small but significant changes: a kind word from a stranger, a moment of unexpected support, or the rekindling of an old friendship. These are not coincidences, they are manifestations of the energy she is cultivating within. Love begets love, and as she gives it to herself, it flows outward and returns to her in abundance. The woman who once felt isolated and unloved now stands in the fullness of her being. She understands that the friendships she longed for could not appear until she first became a friend to herself. She no longer views her solitude as a burden, but as a sacred space where she rediscovered her worth. And from this place of self-love, she steps into the world not as someone who is searching for connection, but as someone who embodies it. In the end, the love she sought was always within her, waiting to be awakened. Her journey of self-love is not just a personal transformation, it is a ripple that touches every aspect of her life, creating relationships that are genuine, joyful, and enduring. By embracing herself fully, she has opened the door to a world of connection that reflects the beauty of the love she carries inside. The outer world we experience is a reflection of our inner beliefs and assumptions. This universal truth is not always immediately apparent, but for the woman who feels the absence of friendships, it is both a challenge and an invitation. The seeming void in her external relationships is not a fixed reality, but a mirror of the story she carries within. This realization is a profound one, for it offers her the power to reshape her life by reshaping her inner world. When a woman feels isolated or disconnected, it is easy to point outward to circumstances, misunderstandings, or even to the behavior of others. Yet, the external world is never the starting point, it is the result. The relationships she experiences or the lack thereof are born from the beliefs she holds about herself, her worth, and her place in the world. These beliefs may have been formed long ago, perhaps as the result of painful experiences, rejection, or feelings of inadequacy. Over time, these impressions solidify into a lens through which she views herself and others. This lens can create a cycle that perpetuates her feelings of loneliness. For example, if she believes deep down that she is unworthy of close connections, her actions and energy will unconsciously reflect that belief. She may hesitate to reach out to others, fearing rejection. She might interpret small slights as confirmation of her fears or withdraw from potential relationships before they have a chance to deepen. These patterns, though unintentional, create an outer reality that mirrors her inner beliefs. But just as the inner world has created the outer experience, it holds the power to transform it. The first step in this transformation is awareness. She must begin to observe the thoughts and assumptions that dominate her mind. Are they filled with self-doubt, fear, or feelings of inadequacy? Or are they rooted in love, confidence, and the belief that she is deserving of meaningful connections? This self-inquiry is not an act of judgment, but one of curiosity and compassion. It is an opportunity to identify the stories she has been telling herself and to choose new ones that align with the life she desires. As she becomes aware of her inner narrative, she can begin to rewrite it. This is not a superficial exercise in positive thinking, but a deep and intentional process of changing her assumptions about herself and others. She can start by imagining herself as someone who is deeply loved and valued. She can visualize the warmth and joy of meaningful friendships, feel the comfort of belonging, and affirm her worth as a person deserving of connection. These mental shifts may seem small, but they are the seeds from which new realities grow. The beauty of this process is that as her inner world changes, so too does her outer experience. She begins to carry herself differently, not with the energy of someone seeking validation, but with the quiet confidence of someone who knows their value. This change in energy is subtle yet powerful, as it influences how others perceive and respond to her. People are naturally drawn to those who exude self-assurance and openness, and she will find herself attracting the connections she once thought were out of reach. This transformation is not limited to new relationships, it can also heal and deepen existing ones. As she shifts her inner beliefs, she may find herself approaching others with greater understanding and less defensiveness. She becomes more open to vulnerability and connection, creating space for others to meet her with the same openness. Relationships that once felt strained or distant can blossom anew when approached from this place of inner alignment. This process requires patience and persistence. The outer world does not always change instantly, and there may be moments when old patterns resurface. But with each step, she reinforces the new foundation she is building within. The relationships she cultivates from this place of inner clarity will not only reflect her renewed sense of self, but also be deeply authentic and fulfilling. The woman who once felt the sting of isolation discovers that the key to connection was always within her. By transforming her inner world, she has changed the way she engages with life, creating a reality that reflects her worth and desires. The friendships she now experiences are not accidents or miracles, they are the natural result of aligning her inner beliefs with the truth of who she is, a woman deserving of love, connection, and belonging. While often viewed as a burden, can be one of life's most profound gifts when approached with the right perspective. For the woman who finds herself without friends, this period of solitude is not a punishment, but an opportunity, a stage of renewal, transformation, and deep self-discovery. What appears as an empty space is, in truth, a fertile ground where her next chapter begins to take root. In the quiet of isolation, she is given the chance to rediscover who she truly is, free from the noise and influence of others. In the fast-paced world we live in, moments of true stillness are rare. Our lives are filled with the demands of relationships, obligations, and societal expectations, often leaving little room for introspection. For the woman who feels isolated, this absence of external distractions may at first feel overwhelming, like a void she cannot escape. Yet, Within this void lies a profound opportunity, the chance to turn inward and ask herself the questions that truly matter. Who is she, beyond the role she plays or the relationship she lacks? What does she value? What kind of life does she wish to create? This period of isolation is a sacred pause, a time to reconnect with the essence of who she is. In the absence of others' voices, she begins to hear her own. She can explore her dreams and desires, unfiltered by the expectations or judgments of others. She has the freedom to reflect on her past, not with regret, but with the intention of understanding the patterns and choices that have shaped her journey. This reflection is not about dwelling on what is lacking, but about gaining clarity on what she wants to invite into her life moving forward. In this space, she is also given the opportunity to heal. Isolation often brings to the surface emotions that have long been buried: grief, sadness, or feelings of inadequacy. While these emotions may be uncomfortable, they are also necessary. They are the wounds that need to be acknowledged and tended to before she can truly move forward. As she sits with these feelings, she begins to release them, making room for new energy and new possibilities. But isolation is not only about looking back, it is also about looking forward. It is a time for planting seeds. What kind of friendships does she envision for herself? What qualities does she value in others? And what qualities does she bring to the table? These questions are not merely theoretical, they are acts of creation. By defining her desires with clarity, she begins to align her energy with the relationships she wants to attract. This alignment is not a passive process, it requires her to become the kind of person she wishes to connect with. If she values kindness, she must embody kindness. If she desires understanding, she must cultivate understanding within herself. This stage of renewal also invites her to explore new interests and passions. Isolation gives her the time and space to discover what lights her up, what makes her feel alive. Whether it's taking up a new hobby, diving into a creative project, or simply spending time in nature, these activities serve to reconnect her with her own joy and curiosity. In doing so, she not only enriches her life, but also sets the stage for organic connections with others who share her passions and values. As she moves through this period, she begins to notice subtle but powerful changes. Her sense of self becomes stronger, her confidence grows, and her energy shifts from one of lack to one of abundance. She no longer sees herself as a woman who is alone, but as a woman who is preparing for the relationships that align with her highest self. She understands that the friendship she seeks will come not from chasing or forcing connections, but from being her most authentic and fulfilled self. This time of isolation is not forever. It is a season, much like winter, a time when the world appears barren, but beneath the surface, life is quietly preparing to bloom. When the spring of her life arrives, she will find herself ready, not only to welcome new relationships, but to fully embrace them. She will have done the inner work necessary to create connections that are meaningful, reciprocal, and deeply satisfying. In the end, what she once viewed as a period of emptiness transforms into one of the most important phases of her life. It is a time of becoming, a time to rediscover her strength, clarify her desires, and align with the life she is meant to live. When she emerges from this stage of renewal, she will do so as a woman transformed, ready to step into a world that reflects the growth, love, and self-awareness she has cultivated within. As counterintuitive as it may seem, relationships with others do not begin with the external effort to seek or secure companionship. They begin within, in the realm of imagination, where every meaningful connection is first envisioned, felt, and nurtured. For the woman without friends, this concept is not a lofty ideal but a transformative truth. The relationships she desires are already available to her in the sanctuary of her mind, where she has the power to create, attract, and bring them to life. Imagination is not merely an escape from reality, but a tool for creation. When a woman envisions the friendships she desires, she is not engaging in wishful thinking, she is laying the foundation for their manifestation. But the mind is an extraordinary instrument, capable of shaping reality through the images it holds most vividly and consistently. When she imagines herself surrounded by love, acceptance, and understanding, she begins to embody the qualities that draw these experiences into her life. This process begins with clarity. She must first define what she truly desires in her relationships. Is it kindness, loyalty, shared laughter, or deep understanding? These are not abstract qualities, they are the essence of the connection she wants to experience. By focusing on these elements, she sets a clear intention, which becomes the blueprint for what she wishes to attract. It is not enough to wish for friends, she must create a detailed vision of the friendships she seeks. Once her vision is clear, the next step is to feel it as though it is already real. Imagination works most powerfully when it is accompanied by emotion. If she can feel the joy of shared moments, the warmth of a supportive conversation, or the exhilaration of a deep connection, her mind begins to accept these experiences as her reality. These feelings are not separate from the relationship she desires, they are the energetic essence that draws them into her life. Through this practice, her inner world begins to shift. The woman who once felt isolated starts to carry herself with the confidence and energy of someone who is deeply connected. This change is not superficial, it radiates from within. People are naturally drawn to those who exude authenticity, warmth, and self-assurance, and her energy becomes magnetic. She finds herself encountering opportunities for connection that align with her vision, not by chance, but because she has aligned her inner world with her outer desires. It's important to understand that imagination is not a passive exercise. It is an active, deliberate process of creation. When she engages her imagination with clarity and feeling, she is doing the inner work necessary to prepare for the relationship she seeks. This preparation is not about changing who she is, but about becoming more fully herself. She is aligning with the version of herself who is ready to receive and nurture the connections she desires. This process also transforms her perception of the relationships she already has, or those she may have overlooked. As her inner world changes, she may find herself seeing others in a new light. She may recognize potential friendships in people she had previously dismissed or feel inspired to rekindle old connections. Her imagination, when aligned with intention, opens her eyes to possibilities that were always there but hidden beneath the weight of her old assumptions. This practice of imagining meaningful relationships can help her release the need for external validation. She no longer seeks friends to fill a void or prove her worth. Instead, she creates from a place of abundance and self-love. The relationships she manifests are not born of desperation but of alignment, making them deeply authentic and fulfilling. As she continues this inner work, her outer reality will begin to reflect the love and connection she has cultivated in her mind. It may not happen overnight, but with persistence and faith, the gap between her inner vision and her external experience will close. The friendship she once longed for will become a natural extension of the love and clarity she has developed within herself. In time, she will look back and see that the friendships she now treasures were not the result of chance, but of deliberate creation. They began in her imagination, grew through her feelings, and materialized as a reflection of her inner transformation. The woman who once felt the sting of isolation will realize that she was never truly alone. The connections she desired were always within her reach, waiting for her to align with them through the power of her mind. In embracing this truth, she has not only reshaped her relationships but also reclaimed her role as the creator of her life. In the journey of a woman with no friends, what begins as a path of isolation transforms into a profound exploration of self and creation. Through imagination, self-love, and intentional reflection, she discovers that her reality is not shaped by external circumstances, but by the inner truth she holds and the vision she dares to embrace. Her solitude becomes a sanctuary for growth, her perceived lack of connection an opportunity to strengthen her bond with herself and align with the relationships she truly desires. She learns that meaningful relationships do not arise by accident, they are born within, cultivated in the soil of her beliefs, nurtured by the love she gives herself, and drawn into her life through the clarity of her intentions. As she embraces this truth, she steps into her power as the creator of her experiences, transforming her world from one of emptiness to one of deep connection and fulfillment. The woman who once saw herself as alone now recognizes the infinite potential within her. she understands that the relationships she seeks are reflections of her own inner state. By loving herself, envisioning her desires vividly, and allowing her inner transformation to guide her outer actions, she manifests the connections that honor her worth and bring joy to her life. In this realization, she is not only surrounded by friends, but also empowered by the knowledge that she has crafted a reality aligned with her highest self. Her journey is a testament to the truth that the power to shape her world has always been within her, and that the love and connection she once longed for are not found outside, but created from within,